Affordability is still a major problem in America, and housing is at the top of that list. Over the weekend, Donald Trump hinted toward a 50-year mortgage. Yes, you heard that right, a 50-year mortgage, posting this picture of President Roosevelt, who oversaw the creation of a fixed rate mortgage after the Great Depression, and it kind of led to the 30-year mortgage. So let's talk about why I think this is not a good idea and this is not the answer to affordability. And if you should even be thinking about buying a home right now. Number one, there are two primary mortgage lengths, a 15-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage. Prior to the Great Depression and after World War II, when they were trying to incentivize home ownership, people just saved up for a house and then they might have gotten like a 5-year loan, a 10-year loan, but it was definitely not a 30-year mortgage. The 30-year mortgage allowed many more people to purchase properties, making it more affordable. So some people think a 30-year mortgage is too long, but it became kind of commonplace for people to get a 30-year mortgage. Over 90% of people who are getting a mortgage are getting a 30-year mortgage. That followed by a 15-year mortgage, which 15-year mortgages are a good idea. You'll pay less interest, but your payment is going to be significantly higher than a 30-year mortgage. Now, let's look at this option of the 50-year mortgage. Although the 50-year mortgage is what it looks like, oh, if I spread this out over 50 years, it's going to be more affordable. But in comparison, let's look at the interest rates today. A 15-year mortgage, the interest rate is about 5.84%, where 30 years, so you do save money on interest if you opt for less years in your mortgage. And for a 30-year mortgage, it's at about 6.34%. So let's imagine that's about a half of a percent higher. So let's imagine what a 50-year mortgage. So you're not even adding just 15 years, you're adding 20 years to your mortgage payment. It is not going to be at the same interest rate because the risk that people, that are investing and loaning you this money, the longer the loan is, typically the higher the interest rate is going to be. So they're not going to have that, you're going to have the same interest rate as a 30-year. So it's probably going to be, if interest rates stay in this amount or these rates, it's probably going to be more like 7% that you'll pay on a 50-year mortgage. So it's not going to be a significant savings. CNBC posted this, and I'm going to show this graphic, and this is if the interest rate stayed the same. They said on about a $415,000 house that the payment, even at the same interest rate, the payment would only be $233 less than a typical 30-year loan. And again, I don't think it's going to be the same payment because why would somebody, opt to loan you this money at the same interest rate? So it's probably going to be a higher interest rate that you're going to get on a 50-year loan. You'll be paying it for the majority of your life, and you won't be able to pay toward, since at the very beginning of your mortgage, you're paying primarily toward the interest and not the principal. You have to get one of those amortization tables. It'll show you that you're paying mostly interest, not a lot of the principal down. And with the average people on average live in their homes about 10 years or so, then you're not going to even hit a lot of that, or if any, of the principal part of that mortgage, and it's not going to allow you to have any equity in your home when it's time to sell. So I just think it's a very bad idea. With everything going on with layoffs, major companies laying off people, a lot of them saying that it's AI related or just profit related. I think a lot of the government shutdown, the layoffs of government workers before the shutdown and during the shutdown, you need to make sure you have an emergency fund. You need to make sure you have an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. The more, the better. If you have a job that has fluctuating income, you need to make it longer than the 3 months. Opt for 6. Sometimes some of you need even 12. As a real estate agent, content creator, I need 12 because, as the economy changes, real estate changes. As the economy changes, content creation changes. So I opted for the 12 months of expenses, and I didn't do, everything that we buy every month. But if at bare bones budget, what do we need to survive if no money was coming in? Then that's the amount that I saved for 12 months. And number two, you need to be able to stay in that house. You need to have the plan to stay in that house 7 to 10 years. If you're not buying with that in mind, and life is going to happen and you may have to sell before that, but you should be going into the purchase of that property that you're going to live there for 7 to 10 years. And then lastly, it should not be more than 35% of your take home pay. And I did this video explaining my reasoning behind that 35% of your take home pay. If you have any questions, please ask, but that 50-year mortgage is not a good idea.